Good morning and welcome to today's live show. We just have AMC up on the screen. Gonna wait till a few people get in here so we can give a little update. So just stick around for another 30 seconds to a minute and we'll see when people get in here so that we can give you an update across the board. But we do notice that AMC here does have a big, I would say, 2-hour divergence is there. So watch out because that daily scale can turn down and maybe that daily scale is going to pull back, but maybe we are going to see an opportunity show itself very, very soon. Dipping your toes in DJC. All right, we got some people trickling in. Let's get into the technical analysis side. You guys need those daily expected moves. We did post those to Patreon last night, but we noticed that the daily expected moves for today, let's go into a 2-hour to check these out, are going to be 596.62 to the upside. All right, and there's your upside move, and you do have 585.46 to the downside. That's going to be key. We have not reached the monthly expected move. We're pointing right in that direction. It would make sense if we would get there, but today we have a big rock in our stream, and that would be a bunch of stuff going on with the Fed, right? We're going to be live later today to watch that with you to see what the reaction in the market is. As of right now, that reaction to the upside is happening. Maybe we're going to need some kind of little 30-minute reversal signal in here. We do not have it at this point. So a good reversal signal would be, hey, we go down to a daily expected move, we go back up over time, and then we're able to fall back down. That would be a good reversal signal. As of right now, you don't necessarily have it. You have the weekly scale that has gotten rid of the reversal signal. So signals are back to bullish, even on the macro scale. But as we go higher, as we go higher, as we go higher, this thing is still pretty tapped out, guys, okay? So it just means be cautious. If we're gonna get rid of all of this, we're gonna need a massive weekly move here, right? We're gonna need like 3 weeks worth of positivity, go see something crazy. I'm not leaning towards that. I think something fishy could go on today. All right, so now that you have those daily expected moves, watch out for the 2-hour for the Qs, because the Qs have an upside move of 511.24 to the upside. We do have 499.92 to the downside. So you can see how on the 2-hour, we don't necessarily have the best reversal signals here. You do have, I would say, another point of divergence on the RSI, but it just doesn't look very clean, right? It's coming above that MACD, so that could just be some kind of pullback. I don't want to read into that too much. I just want to look at the macro scale. And this is one where the Qs actually could go higher, right? This one looks like it's not as tapped out as the SPY. This one looks like, hey, you can head up to higher prices because you have more room on that MACD, you have more room on that RSI to go to higher levels. Something key here is we are taking out this high, so I will be leaning towards correction and I will be looking for some kind of reversal signal in here that shoots us to the upside. The only problem with correction in this area is our 492.28 level. Our 492.28 level is as high up as the options market priced in the market to go with a 68% confidence. So we do have a 68% chance to land down in this area by the end of the year, which when you really look at it that way, it says, hey, this is already a 32% chance to land out here. So if we do see these weeklies crossing over again or this fade, say today, we're going to have to pay attention to it. You do not have reversal signals on the shortest time frame that I like to pay attention to, the 30-minute. You really don't. So if this is going to just V-shape down because of some news today, we'll see. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because really what's happening here, the 10-year is starting to turn down, okay? The 10-year started to turn down. That was a major move to the upside. Okay, awesome. They do not want this to happen. I don't think they want this to happen. They've been cutting rates for a reason. If they're cutting rates, then they probably don't want to see rates go up. So the fact that this is actually happening, we'll have to see what they say today. We might have a little surprise, some kind of cut still happening with this type of price action, with this type of move from the 10-year. I do believe they will want to still cut those rates a little bit. So we'll pay attention to that. As we go over and look at something like volatility, just real quick, going to talk about these and then we'll get into some individual stocks. Notice we are coming below the 200. So that reaction down to 1504 is still there. That reaction down to even 1212 at this point can happen as we are going negative today. So today's going to be a big day because if we're going to go negative and really confirm that, well, then we're probably going to see some kind of continued squeezing into, and maybe we see some kind of absolute blow off top here. And it's kind of like we did a blow off top, then we did a blow off top at the blow off top, and now you're going to blow off that top. And it's just like, man, when this thing tears down, it's probably going to be a little ugly. And we saw the transition from European stocks, from Chinese stocks into the US markets, trying to price in those tariffs. So we'll see what's going to happen with this. I do believe we probably bought ourselves more time according to the shorter time frames. We do have one of those rocks in our stream, so that's something to pay attention to there. Apple, if we're experiencing some extreme positivity, first of all, we actually, mentioned the 15-minute divergence, at least a retest of 225.84. We test 225.84, and we're dipping down. This 30-minute is still positive. If that can curl back up, that would be a good sign. You did just curl up that 2 hour, so if that 2 hour is going to have some more strength in it, you'd really like to get to a level about 227.84, right? Get all the way up there, then see that back off, use 225.84 to actually head higher, right? So the main level I'm paying attention to for Apple is still up in this area, right? With these highs, with the gaps, with the support tries, right? And another gap. So I really like this level, but I'm aware that this is very deep into negative territory. So I'm just going to be aware of any kind of reversal signal in this move. We're not really making them, but I'm going to be aware also if that just curls down into negative territory. Tesla is going to be your big hint. All right, Tesla is going to be a big hint. No. We were, dude, you can't come in and I'm kind of tired of it because people come in when we called that there were good signals on the SPY to go higher. People come in and say, you still bearish? No, well, we are bearish now, but we were bullish right the day of the election. We were mentioning the reversal signal on the SPY. I sold my volatility before the election because we had a reversal signal on the SPY. So if you're not someone who's coming in paying attention to every video and then you come in on an up day and just say I'm bearish or something, it's kind of annoying, to be honest, because we had reversal signals here and we pointed them out multiple times. We pointed out the fact that we were looking for this to do that. We thought it would maybe be a lower high, but that ended up going to higher prices because you saw a major expected move. All right, but this is going to be your big hint. All right, this is going to be the big hint. Tesla right now is outside of a weekly, it's outside of a monthly, and that's something very, very big. So we'll see if Tesla's able to dip down, because that would suggest the daily can turn down. The daily scale is showing still that point of divergence, unless we're able to keep going higher for a couple of days. If we can go higher for a couple of days, then we're more so looking at that pullback to actually head higher for Tesla. Tesla has turned up the monthly scale. Amazon, this thing is just screaming higher at this point. So this is one that could be considered, hey, this thing could pull back and end up going higher. Okay, so the only signal that I really want to pay attention to right now with this, right, as far as downside goes, is the weekly scale. Right, we're making those divergence points on the weekly scale here. We're still holding all the divergences for triple divergence. And the last time that happened, bad things. We're up above that level now. Bad things can happen. I'm gonna go check on my weekly expected moves for Amazon just to see if there's more upside possible this week. You're outside of a weekly move right now, and you're about to go touch a monthly expected move. So this is as high up as we're supposed to go for the entire month, and we're doing that, well, we're a couple points short, but we're doing that, what, 7 days into the month? So you do have a long time to get back down below that area. So I think today will be an important day. Nvidia, you see this on the weekly scale. This is the main signal we were paying attention to for bearishness, all right? Has it happened? No, it hasn't. So am I shorting Nvidia? No, I'm not, because that hasn't crossed over. But you do have the triple divergence here. You have Nvidia going to higher prices up towards, actually, Nvidia is outside of a weekly expected move. So this move is very unexpected. Does Nvidia have room to run? Yes, it does. If this is not going to form divergence, this is bullish, and this says, hey, you can head higher. You can actually head about more than 10 points higher from where we're at right now. And this still could go up like this because you have room here. You have room here. You're not even overbought yet. But if you come up to this area like this and you fall down, you come up like this, you reach up like this, and then you fall down, that's going to be a trip up. I still believe this is a trap, yes. If I'm wrong, that's fine, because I play the signals, right? I said, and don't think if I see a 30-minute divergence on the SPY, you think I'm going to hold volatility? You think I'm going to hold volatility calls? No. Was I hurt by volatility? No, because I saw the 30-minute divergence on the SPY, and that confirmed, and then it confirmed on a 2-hour. So this is, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. People just don't learn. Anyway, what we need to pay attention to with if AMD is going to make a comeback is, can that weekly scale turn up, right? We want to be aware of that. That's right by the center line. We want to be aware that the 2-hour is curling up. Not the strongest just yet, but it is gaining some strength here. So you are taking back the 5. That's a good sign. You're a little bit deep into negative territory here, okay? So we have to pay attention if that rejects at any time. If you wanted to, this would be the look I like, because that would get you out of this zone. You come back into it for some buyers. Even a retest of the previously area, we kept retesting this line right here, so maybe we get that, and then that turns up into positive territory on the 2 hour. That's the only thing I really see for AMD. If you pull up a 30-minute, you're probably going to see a bunch of wonky divergences because this thing is pretty much squeezing to the downside. So that's going to be key there. Meta, key thing with Meta here is the fact that this Meta, we talked about this yesterday. Oh, are you bearish? Well, if I say there is a divergence that could lead to a reversal and that confirms, you know what I'm going to say. The 2 hour can curl up here. We can see positivity. This is very, very flat down here with the price action. Is the MACD flat like the price action? No, you have pretty much a triple divergence here between all these levels. Now you're seeing that take back the 5 and we get upside. Would I short Meta right here with this look in the shorter term, right? If you're taking longer out options, okay, like you're taking a position for longer out options, but like this says basing out. This says basing out. This on the RSI at the same time says basing out. So did I have shorts on Meta with this kind of look? Am I going to take shorts on any stock really with this kind of look? No, especially if the SPY has that divergence and the Qs have made that lower high or higher low. Qs made a higher low, right? We came up, we couldn't make the divergence point, we never crossed back down, which means positivity, right? Am I going to bet that this is going to make this big of a move the next day with that implied volatility, all based on an election that could go technically either way? No. It's all about risk. If you just think about risk to reward all the time, it's like, yeah, I could risk a ton of money. I could make a shitload of money on this move if I would have taken something here. But I'm not, because we're seeing bad weekly signals and we're still holding them right now. So am I going to keep doing that? Am I going to short when I see that? No, because a bounce could come. But if that would have made a lower high, then I would make a decision. Right now, we're exceeding the level, so I am leaning more towards correction at this point. I actually think we'll correct, then we might actually head higher, or at least start to carve out a lower high maybe again into 2025. That's what I think, but it all depends on, today could be, you know, I'm open to anything, all right? But Meta showed reversal signals. Microsoft showed reversal signals. We talked about this live. We said Microsoft is showing great basing out signals here. Probably going to curl up a 2 hour. Curling up a 2 hour. We're about to go up into a zone. We'll see if that proves to be some kind of resistance. And we are still a little bit away from a weekly expected move. Google is one that's saying, hey, just a 2 hour cross up, right? This is a bullish thing. And we've said that Google is a bullish thing. This could be very bullish. This could be very bullish. This could be, it's great structure. It headed higher, big move higher. You got the pullback, and then you crossed up into positive territory. So what's going to happen? Well, positivity. Now, this is a rapid move, but we still can test that closing high, maybe go make a new one. The only problem is Google's already at a weekly expected move. All right? I'm just going to tell everyone today because I think today will be a very important day. Now, AMC, this one here actually has 2 hour divergence in the other direction. You have very, very big flatness here that could be a double top. You have a 2 hour that could rotate down, and that's telling you, hey, you might be in a daily pullback. So we could go in through a time here, and I think this might set up. And if it does, this is where I'll take probably a big trade on AMC, is actually if this would curl down into negative territory, we go down to lower prices. Everyone gives up on this. This hits 390 or even, 380 or something like that. And we turn down like this and we curl right back up. We turn down like this, we curl right back up, we see reversal signals. If I don't see reversal signals, am I going to take a big play on AMC? No, I'll probably take a very minor play on AMC, right? Just in case. GameStop, this one here as well, all right? This one as well. On the 2 hour, you can see how we're kind of coming up to that same level, right? We're pretty much coming up to that same level. We see the bars here not exceeding this level here, except for that one. So you do have this flatness here that could be some double top. So if that 2 hour does rotate down, that could mean negativity. But if that rotates right back up, it's positive again, okay? Now, if that 2 hour has anything to say, it might say, hey, the daily's gonna even curl down for a second here. That could happen. But as long as that's able to curl back up, I can react. Has that crossed over? No. Has that crossed over on the 2 hour yet? No. That's AMC? No. So all this still is pointing in the upward direction, even with the downturn, but great numbers and bad price action, which is kind of what we were leaning towards. Great numbers. Just great numbers. Totally beat the estimate. Gold was interesting because gold was falling off a cliff. This one had 2 hour divergence saying, hey, this is kind of flat though. This is a little bit down, but this is pretty flat. So can this get a reaction? Yes, it can. But is that just going to react to reconnect with the 5, maybe fill a gap, and then turn right back down? That's what we'll pay attention to for gold. Because gold on the daily scale, you did confirm the divergence up here. You have very flat divergences across though. So this doesn't have to be the complete reversal. We want to pay attention if that thing does turn back up. Bitcoin, very interesting for Bitcoin. All right, there is something interesting here for Bitcoin. If I go into, I think it's an 8 hour, but if I go into a 4 hour, you're really going to see this on the RSI. You're going to see how this is pointing down. But this is not holding, so it tells you that Bitcoin could go through some kind of pullback is what it really looks like here. Or it might be a daily pullback because you do have one divergence there. If the daily pulls down too far, you actually would confirm divergence. All right, let's see if that's on the MACD because it's kind of tight. So if you don't turn down today, right, if you do not turn down today, then you're probably going to get rid of this divergence and we'd be talking about a daily pullback, right? Some kind of daily pullback. That's most likely what would happen there. You still have a MACD that is very up into positive territory, which means this can continue higher. Now, one thing interesting is the dollar really dropping off. And as you can see, the dollar really went up with the market. We still have a positive correlation with the market. The market's going up, the dollar's going up. The dollar pulls back, the market pulls back. The dollar sees a major move higher. The market sees that major move higher too. Now the dollar is dropping off very rapidly here. Now, is this going to turn into a negative correlation, or is this actually going to continue to be a positive correlation and actually see the market go down with it? Right? That's what we want to pay attention to because it's been positively correlated. Positive correlation there. If we start to see PCC go higher and the dollar keep dropping, then most likely we probably do go up and hit 600, 6,000 for the spot for the SPX. Palantir saw a really good move and it's still seeing a really good move. And this is what I'm talking about. Stocks like Palantir are seeing these major moves higher that are taking out all the divergences. That's when you know, hey, we can just pull back, right? Palantir could just pull back and then end up going higher over time. It could go retest some of these moving averages and then curl back up into positive territory. And that would just go whoop, whoop, right? We've seen little curl ups all the time. All right, as of right now, gapping up though. IWM seeing something absolutely crazy. IWM could give all this up today and it would make sense. IWM is also outside of a monthly expected move on the 7th of the month. IWM on the weekly is outside of a weekly expected move and we got 2 days left and you're outside of a monthly. Now, do you have reversal signals here? No. So we can assume, hey, this can go higher. This can go higher, all right? But maybe it needs to pull back first. Things need pullbacks to go higher to remain healthy. If you look on the weekly scale, you're turning up again. So you got rid of the divergence here, right? You kind of got rid of the double top. Now you're heading higher. You're curled up into positive territory. If that turns down, I'd still watch out. But I think the big signal here is the monthly scale. If the monthly scale sees too much weakness, we can head much lower. But if the monthly scale can actually do this and we don't see that go negative, right? If we could do this, that would be the correction that is very, very good. And then you could see that cup, you can see that handle, right? There is a way to head higher. This prop, right? They kick the can all the time. So if we're going to kick the can again, that's all we're being aware of. And we're just aware of pivotal moments. This looks like a pivotal moment to me. We have too many things outside of weeklies, too many things outside of monthlies. We're seeing upside way too fast here for the environment we actually have. And that's a big deal. These yields can really damage banks. These yields can damage people, the housing market, right? They can really damage the housing sector. While everything was up yesterday, the housing sector was struggling a little bit. We got to see if that thing can turn up into positive territory. Home builders were struggling a little bit. All right, we just opened up. Let's see what's going on here as we head a little bit higher. One thing we want to still pay attention to is Tesla. Tesla, is it going to give us a hint? If they are very, very bullish on all the things Trump is doing, well, then Tesla is going to be one of the stocks. And maybe that's why it curled up on a monthly scale a couple months ago. It still can head higher, but this is a reversal signal outside of a weekly, outside of a monthly right now. I am warning you about the potential weakness in momentum right now. Tesla is your good hint. If that weakness is going to come in, then Tesla is going to curl down on this 2 hour. If that weakness is going to continue to come in, then this 2 hour divergence is going to be able to go negative, and we are going to see the daily curl down. And notice all of this is happening with a big event today. The daily will be able to turn down here if we're going to see this thing start to turn down. Like, I am not a magician. I pay attention to when there is risk. Where did I take my volatility play? Here. Where did I get rid of my volatility play? Here. Where did I double down on that volatility play? Here. Where did I sell that volatility play once again? Here. There's reversal signals there. I trade like water. I suggest you do the same. Now, did I believe that this was going to go massively this, or did I believe maybe this was going to be a trap and then we'd turn down? I didn't know. So if I don't know and I think that we're making major signals on the macro scale, am I going to take some kind of massive play here and try to make $1 million? No. The way to make money in the market is the slow way. The slow way is, hey, I see bad signals here. I don't like them. Okay, now we see a downfall. I see a reversal signal here. I take profit. This goes like this. Now I'm looking for those signals to take my next trade. I'm being patient. That's it. Think very slowly. Think simply. But I think today will be a big day. Now, is this going to be, hey, yeah, it turns down today, turns back up tomorrow, and going on into next week, and then we see a downturn? Because maybe this thing does want to get to 600. It's pointing right towards it. You have weeklies turned up. People really like those whole numbers. So 600, 6,000 for SPX, definitely possible. But I think you got to keep your eye on Tesla. All right, let's go check over on some stuff real quick. DJT to start the morning. All right. DJT to start the morning, coming down, pretty dramatically coming down. You see that 30-minute getting by the center line. If that 30-minute can turn back up, great. But if you are saying anything, you're going that 2 hours crossing down in negative territory. So in about 2 hours, if that is still curled down, we can head lower. Maybe we'll make a little divergence point or something like that, but we won't really see that on the 30-minute at this point, so it might need more time. But the 30-minute doesn't necessarily have the best signals to head up unless that can see a strong move right here. But the last time it tried to see a strong move, that did not work out. I actually think an hourly chart might be your friend here. Let me look. Yeah, an hourly chart might be your friend if you're going to make a divergence. Right, so if I was watching DJT, I'd say, ooh, that's not good. I don't want to be in this if this is going way down like this. We reacted up to the 5. We rejected after trying to go up. We retested the 5. And now we're heading in the downward direction, which does mean we have a chance to test the low, which is what we're doing right now, or go make a new one. Did you have reversal signals in here? I mean, maybe at like a 15-minute something, but not necessarily. Let's go check on our buddy that just had some earnings, and we're seeing a major move down. All right, major move down. You have 2-hour divergence here. This is kind of what we were talking about with AMC, right? We said anytime that there's earnings and there's a big implied volatility, know that the short sellers, that the big players that want this to go down, they see it too. They see the E on the screen. So they're going to clamp down on the stock because they know that everyone probably just YOLOs calls for AMC earnings because it's cheap. They can put $200 for Friday on this thing and have 100 contracts. And if this thing would go to $20, congratulations, they make, you know, shit, they make $100,000. So, of course, they do not want that to happen. I'm sure tons of people did that. Instead, they're going to use that liquidity to shoot it down. Now, does that mean it's over? Not necessarily. We just want to wait till the signals look good again and wait till no one is really paying attention to it. Wait till that implied volatility is actually a little bit lower. That would make more sense to me. But we're getting a big wick here. The daily is still crossed up. If that daily crosses down, that's where I'll be thinking, hey, this thing might need some time to go down into lower levels, create some reversal signals. That's when I will be paying attention to AMC. I still have the stock in case something does happen, but I want the signals to look good if I'm going to take any kind of option play. I'm not just going to say, hey, earnings, yippee, because I know that short sellers see this too. All right. Thank you guys for understanding that yesterday. Man, I was just up really late, not 2 nights ago, for the election, trying to pay attention to the market, seeing what's going on with these moves higher. We were able to figure out that, hey, they're pricing in a Donald Trump win around 8 p.m. I was able to figure that out, posted it around 9 just to make sure. We saw the rotation out of European stocks, out of Chinese stocks into the U.S. market and the U.S. dollar. But now the US dollar is coming down dramatically and really, really fast. And if we're keeping a positive correlation here, then that would say that, ooh, maybe we need to pay attention in case volatility turns up. It's still right at that 200. But as this turns down, you have to be open to a further squeeze. You have to. Now we're reacting down to a level I really like. I really do like this 1504. This is a level I have on my other charts. So if we're not going to curl down this MACD, we're probably going to have to get a reaction off of 1504. Because this is going to be a very bad divergence. It's going to be in negative territory. It's going to be deep in negative territory, and it's going to be in oversold territory. All right, we do have the potential to turn all the way down to 1212. We still have that. You can see something crazy. We're at those crazy times. That's possible. That's why we really want to keep our eye on things like Tesla. Things like Tesla might give us a great hint. All right. One thing we're noticing is TLT. Now, TLT actually still holding the divergence point on the RSI. It got rid of this little point here, but you do have the divergence holding at this level. If you would turn up, the momentum is still weak here. This momentum, you were building, and then that got distributed where? To the downside. It did. And then if that can curl back up into positive territory, we might be able to see good things, actually. And this might be a stronger base than you think. Go over to the 10-year, you notice that is coming down. Right? We look at the 4-hour, that is going down. What happened? Well, these little wonky ones were gotten rid of. But are we still holding the major ones? Let's see. Oh, pretty flat, little flat here. So that means what? This could go like that. Right away, I know how to read into this. Now, that is pointing down a little dramatically. If that goes negative and the daily is able to cross, which it's right on a knife's edge from crossing, we would still say this is in a daily pullback. Right? We would say this is in a daily pullback. And where are we reacting to? We're getting to a great level. If we're going to see these things go absolutely bonkers, that would be the look for the 10-year. We're going to see TLT drop off a cliff, and this is just some kind of little bounce. This is what we're looking for. Alrighty. PCC comes out in a few minutes here. Later on today, we will be live because we do get the Fed interest rate, right? We get the interest rate decision, and then we also get, I believe Jerome Powell is speaking 30 minutes before the close. If I'm correct, I think my time zone might be off on that. But let me go double check. Because usually he talks at like 1:30. Yeah, FOMC meeting at 2 p.m. Press conference. It says 2:30 for me, but maybe someone could double check. Is that 30 minutes before the close or an hour before the close that he speaks? And then I'm going to leave you guys on the spy. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and I will be right back. All right, be right back, guys. 2 seconds. Sorry, Alex. There is sound. I just had to use the restroom. That coffee, man. Whew, that coffee got me going. All right, now I'm reading chat. If anyone wants to, shout out something they're paying attention. I saw Steve Mack. I saw you were mentioning a bunch. Oh wait, Steve might have left. AMC. Yeah, sorry, I had to use the restroom really bad. My stomach was killing me. I'm not gonna lie. Good morning, Fardos. How you doing, Bernie? Thanks, Bernie, for helping out. Let people know. Hey, yeah, I told you guys. I'm gonna do that today, by the way. I'm gonna be working on some stuff just to make it more understandable when I'm like, I'm gonna make a little like bathroom break, be right back sign. What's TLT resistance now? Well, TLT could get interesting because you don't necessarily have too much resistance, I would say. I mean, obviously, once you start to get in the area where you're seeing some gaps, right? So this actually is right where you need to start paying attention. The resistance can come in once that 5-day moving average comes in because we're continuing a negative trend still, right? We tried so hard to go positive a few times, but we keep curling down into negative territory. Obviously, this was a major gap. It was relatively controlled, but now it's starting to go in the upward direction. We'll see if that continues. So resistance could be where you're at right now. If you were talking, breakdown area, you would say, right in here. So the resistance you need to get through to go higher is pretty obvious, right? 93, you got to be able to hold above 93. Doing great, you're welcome. Thank you, Bernie. My PC needs upgrading. Same. I need to get with my brother and build a PC. Good morning, positive vibes. Yeah, guys, this is why, and I just want to say, this is why I encourage watching the whole video, because a lot of the time we'll say something that is both sides, and you just have to see what's going on in front of you. This is just to teach you how to look at things. I don't want to look at something and say, this is immediately going to be bullish. Right, I want to look at something and say, this can really hurt my trade. This can be bullish. If that confirms, I should not take downside, right? That's how we're doing it. Look at GME, how Ryan could use that billions he has in the bank now, watching for a squeeze on DJT. I do have daily expecteds, Matthew, for the SPY. If you guys ever need daily expected moves and you come in late to the chat, just check on the, you're doing the right thing, Matthew. Check on the beginning of the video, or, just ask. And you ask very nicely, Matthew, and I appreciate that. So the upside move for the SPY, still some pretty big moves, not nearly as big as yesterday. Remember, yesterday, if we had the same moves as yesterday, it'd be like this. That'd be crazy. So today you have a little bit smaller, right? Actually, a lot of it smaller. You have like half of what you had yesterday, which is crazy, but it's still a big move. 596.62 to the upside, and you do have 585.46 to the downside for today. Dark pool trades. Tradealytics, but I think that updates not in real time, but I do use Tradealytics. I just do it kind of before open, or before the week opens, and I'll look for certain levels most of the time. But we have had we've had a few options, volume option trade, where you're seeing those little pockets and things like that. We've got a few of those sponsors. It's just I'm very hesitant to take sponsors as a YouTuber. I don't want anything to leak in and make me not do analysis based on what I think. And so if I find it useful, that's what I'm still working on. It's just I'm a team of one guy right now. I literally am just myself. I'm managing everything myself. I still have other things I have to do all the time throughout the day. And so it's just very difficult for me to do any kind of sponsorship when I can't vet it correctly. Well, there was someone mentioning that, and we did see some inflows into TLT. We have seen some major inflows into TLT, but they could be people that are taking options way out, right? Way out, just saying like, hey, in the next year, this goes up. If the chat doesn't make you want to take, oh, it does, Jackal. Oh, it does. The chat half the time makes me like want to just risk my whole fun account. The chat's like, look at DJT, and I'm like, God, I just want to throw it all at it for fun. But I'm like, I at least want to take like a decent looking trade. I think this will pop up as a decent trade. I still think, and I've already given this opinion on AMC, And I think this will affect GME as well, similar signals there, that we are going to curl down on AMC, see this go down, everyone says AMC is dead, and then we just see that thing pop. And that could happen very, very soon, but it could take some time. It could take till the end of November to really happen. So that's one thing I'd say about AMC. GME, it could just go down to these levels, retest there, and then turn back up. And maybe earnings is something to pay attention to. December 4th. Very interesting there. But remember this. Earnings, again, earnings is something that they will know about. They will know that more volatility will come in with earnings. They will use that liquidity to maybe flush stocks down, right? Steal people's money there. Whenever that E pops up, I'm very, not necessarily bearish, I would say cautious with GME and AMC. So AMC, we said this before, watch out because earnings, they see the E. Upside levels for Amazon, you're like as high as you want to go for Amazon. You are, let me just see if you're as high as you want to go for Amazon. I mean, Amazon is experiencing something crazy right now. Amazon is experiencing something crazy for the month. So this is why I'm saying Amazon, Tesla, those are two you want to watch if they turn down, because they're saying, hey, we want to end up going lower from here. 68% chance this drops by tomorrow, 68% chance that this goes lower than this point by the end of the month. Doesn't mean it has to right now, right? Maybe we could make those reversal signals first. You're not seeing any kind of 30-minute signal, I don't think. Yeah, you're not really seeing a 30-minute signal here. My freaking MACD would pop up. Yeah, you're just not seeing it. You had it a little bit originally, and then you just got rid of it. So if we continue to get rid of these signals, then it could just mean something crazy is going to continue to happen. You want to make sure, as you're outside of monthlies, as you're outside of weeklies, you need to see reversal signals. Remember Nvidia, this is how we caught the Nvidia drop, right? And I noticed that the people who always say I'm bearish don't come on days like this, don't come after this happens. And then they don't come and they don't find out that we're actually talking bullish. On the days where you see bad things, we're still looking for the setup to go higher, and the SPY gave us a hint, not necessarily on Nvidia, but you see how Nvidia here, it made 30-minute signals, you have a double top divergence, awesome. And at the same time, we have 2-hour divergence that rejected. Okay, so this here rejected. It did not turn back up, and you have a major divergence where outside of a monthly expected move, the monthly expected move was here at this point for October. We see that, and then we go, oh, it's trying to hold up at it, but October 31st says Nvidia needs to drop into here and close. And that's what happened. So you notice, but we saw reversal signals. That's a lot different than just taking something because it's outside of a monthly or weekly expected move, right? So that's what it would go for Tesla or for Nvidia even right now. Even right now, Nvidia is seeing something crazy. But here's the difference. Does it have reversal signals? No. So could this curl down on a 30-minute? Yes. But the potential for that to retest a level by the end of the week, end in a weekly expected move, and then see something next week is pretty high, just so you're aware of that. But if we made this move right here, maybe that takes us up to a monthly expected move. Now, a little less likely, I would still say. But is this a good time to get into a 30-minute trade to say, hey, this thing's going to go higher? No, your RSI is saying no, your MACD is saying no. But if that gets by the center line, we get some consolidation, different story. Way different story there. Tesla, got to keep our eye on this one. No 30-minute signal to really help you out. Yeah, you have an elongated divergence, but that's way too spread out at this point. 2 hours, what I'd be really watching here. If that turns down, it can turn down the daily. Tesla most likely will end up at lower prices. If that does not happen and the 2 hours is not able to go negative, that daily is not able to cross, well, then that 2 hour can maybe base out at some point and turn back up. That 2 hour could do this if it's really slow and then turns back up. It's really slow and turns back up. That would be what I'm looking for across the board. But you have a lot of things outside of, you have a few things outside of monthlies giving you hints. You have a lot of things outside of weeklies. That's how you want to look at it right now. And SPY's kind of acted like, oh, we just remained in this. This was just a blip and boom, right? This is actually island reversal, right? Pretty much. You kind of did this, you gap down. I know there's this little gap in here, so it might not be exactly island reversal, but if you really look at this, isn't that kind of on an island by itself? And then we, boop. So that is really good, but we're doing that into a big event. The Fed's coming out later. I'm sure they do not like the fact that this 10-year is higher, and look at the 10-year starting to drop. And TLT is starting to pop a little bit. Everyone trying to get puts though, see, this is a big problem. If everyone keeps trying to get puts, then we're probably going to see the market head a little bit higher, but we'll see. We just want to pay attention to the main signals, right? This is something we read into. It's not necessarily something that's like a perfect thing for a trade. This is more something that can make you feel better about a trade, right? If you saw, so let's pretend that this was at 1.65 when we saw this. If you see that's at 1.65 and you see this, you go, oh, this is a trap. If you see this and you see that the put call ratio is at 1.65, you go, oh, that is a trap. Boom. Did we actually see that? What was the time frame on this? 11 o'clock on November 4th. 11 o'clock on November 4th. Where were we? You saw it. That's a great, great little thing to make you feel confident in a trade. Be like, I'm on the opposite side. Everyone's betting that this is going to go down and I see a reversal signal. They're about to do a rigged move to the upside. What happened right after that? A big, big rigged move to the upside. So if I would have read into that perfectly like that, right? If I would, you know, it's just, I'm paying attention to a lot of things for YouTube. Sometimes it does affect my ability to find these kinds of actual and take the actual trade. I just mention it and then I need to read into it further to actually take the trade. That's just something that goes with, you know, I'm putting time into YouTube and it's going to do that. But as long as I manage risk, I'll be fine. Just because I missed out on a move, I'm not going to be sad or something like that. I'm just going to look for the play that looks obvious to me. TLT looks obvious, and then it turned right down, so that's unfortunate. So it would have been like, okay, this would have been the better one to take, especially if I looked at the PCC. But that convinced me to sell my volatility at least, right? Take profit on volatility, which is fantastic. Which volatility, I believe that was up in these areas, right? November 4th, we turned down. Not a good sign, right? 2 hour turns down. What did I say? I'm going to get out once that 2 hour turns down. So I think I might have got out before that. I might have got out on the first downturn for the SPY. I don't know. Profit's profit. Like it, I like it. Now, the DIA, again, another one that is outside of a weekly expected move. Is there a reversal signal on the 2 hour? No. Is it on a bigger time frame? Yes. So if this 4 hour does turn down, then this can be more dramatic. If we're going to buy more time, then most likely that 4 hour doesn't turn down. We see the 2 hour kind of consolidate, reconnect with this 5, and then end up going higher into next week, right? We might need to make that reversal signal into next week. Do something like this. So we're not saying this can't be overly bearish if the bigger time frames get involved, but we are saying that the 2 hour might need to make a divergence first. I still think that these weekly signals look like garbage. And even though I know they can head higher, right? I know that this can head higher. Well, if we get to 518 and we're 10 days into the month, 12 days into the month, I'm going to go, ooh. Not liking that. Do I see a reversal signal? As of right now, the Qs, you can see these are going up towards the daily expected move. The SPY is not. So what does that mean? That means that the SPY can still go to its daily expected move and the Qs can actually burst through and go a little bit higher. If this actually bursts through, then we would look at the SPY hitting its daily expected move. If we're going to see resistance right now, then that would be resistance right now. Because the Qs are telling the opposite of that. They're saying, hey, we're running into our wall, so this can be a wall for the SPY. And notice where that kind of lines up to. Well, it does line up to our previous wedging that was taking place, the little trend between these highs. But I don't want to be convinced that this can't go higher, right? I'm not going to take some kind of play because I see something hitting a line, right? I want to have 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. Something we talk about extensively in the course is 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. And if I don't have those, I'm not taking a trade unless it's on my fun account. But my actual portfolio, the one that I have a designated amount of money to option trading, I am not going to take something because it's hitting a level. Now, volatility, you notice that is trying to base out, not able to curl down. Remember the Qs, not able to curl down this time, right? So what if that happened with volatility? Not able to curl down as we approach 1504. Now, if that crosses, then we might squeeze even higher. You might see an absolutely big upside run. You're already seeing the beginning of that. That can continue all the way to 600. If we just curl down on that 30-minute, that can easily happen. We really have to pay attention to how he's going to talk. Just note this, Jerome Powell and Donald Trump are not necessarily friends. So I don't think he would feel too bad of effing some up. But we'll see. All right, let's get back over to the chat, see what you guys are talking about. $10 short Friday is not going to hold you to this, but how bad is AMC looking to you in the next 60 days or so? 60 days? It really depends on what happens over the next few days. It really depends on what happens over the next few days. Because as of right now, you're seeing this 2 hour, you're seeing that want to curl down. If that curls down, lower prices would make total sense. What you're hoping for is over the next week or two, you're actually seeing this go and then you see some kind of reversal signal down here. Because what that would do is give you that daily divergence and a 2 hour divergence at the same time. And thank you so much for the $10 short Fridays. Really appreciate it. Thank you for giving your hard-earned money back to the channel. Really appreciate that. Not necessarily AMs. Palantir is kind of an outlier right now, but it is outside of a bunch of big expected moves. Palantir is another one that's outside of a weekly. It's outside of a monthly. You have almost a 10% drop just to get back within the monthly expected move. And the weekly. You have more than a 10% drop to get back in the weekly from the high. Very interesting. Someone's saying Tesla is ripping, and it is ripping. Okay, so we're still paying attention. You're still holding the 2 hour. We're still paying attention to that, but maybe we need to make that 30-minute signal first, right? We're not even trying to go make it, which is very interesting to me, but this could experience some, this is the one that turned up on the monthly scale, but I think it could be a great hint. This is the one that's supposed to be really strong for 12 months. So if that sees weakness here, I think that is a major hint. A major hint. If that doesn't happen, it's not a hint. It's just saying, hey, I am a good investment for 12 to 24 months. That's what that would say. Until we see these reversal signals actually prove, we can't necessarily say Tesla is going to fall. We have percentages that say it needs to fall, or the options market is getting taken off guard and the options market is saying it's going to fall with a higher probability. But if there's no reversal signal confirming, there's no trade set up for Tesla, then there's no reason to take a position, right? Because we're looking for those 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade, which is like half of the people that take the course, they say that's their favorite portion. Because it really tells you, this is what I look at. This is what I look for. How many things? Maybe position size. If I only have 3 things, how big is my position? If I have all 5 things, what is my position? Let's go look at a golden setup. Let's see how this one's performing. Seeing that drop off. You're always going to experience pullbacks. This has 30-minute divergence all across the bottom. That's great. You have 2 hour divergence all across the bottom. That's great. You have daily divergence all across the bottom. That's great. All of this has confirmed. This is saying Oxy could be forming a very, very, very strong base here. That's what this is saying. That means the weekly scale can start to curl up. Where's the weekly? Well, it's in negative territory. So should I expect this to be some kind of insanely amazing move? It can be, but it also could just be a move to go retest these key levels, retest the breakdown area at 56.68 for daily turns up, retest 60, what did I just say? 50, 55, 72, 56, somewhere in there, right? We see a lot of resistance or support down here that could become resistance. We saw it come in as resistance again. So if we want to bust through that level, you need to make divergence on the daily scale. You did that. You did that. So I think we have a good shot to get up to 59. I think you have a good shot to get up to 61. I think you have a good shot for this to be a very strong base because you've already retested the breakdown area. You went down lower and then momentum died out. And the daily is confirming that. And if that can go positive, everything's good. Now there is one thing going on that you have to be aware of. Earnings. Earnings is Tuesday night. So earnings can be a 50-50 flip. You do have a golden setup before. That's when we say, hey, so, you know, a lot of the time, whenever I've taken earnings ever since my bad loss with Zillow, when I take earnings, I look if there's a golden setup. If there is a golden setup, then I can take the earnings, but I'm still going to make sure that I'm not risking a ton of money, right? I want to manage how much I put behind the trade just in case it goes wrong. I'm always giving myself that 1%. So if I have $10,000 dedicated to option trading for the month, and I sit there and I go, okay, I'm going to take this, it's a golden setup, $10,000. No, I might only use $1,000. I'm going to use 10% in case it goes wrong. But Oxy looks like a great setup. Always got to be willing to be wrong. That's the 1% thing. That's why I wouldn't risk all 10,000 if that's what I have for this month dedicated to options in that, right? I'm always thinking of my risk and how to keep that at a lower level, as low as possible. Always think about, if I take a loss, is it going to absolutely demolish my account? Or is it just going to be like, that's a little setback. Let me sell that. Lost 50%. That's a little setback. Losing 500 is a lot better than losing 5,000. Is that 604? What is it? 649. That's wrong on this. Okay, I'll update those later. I did give an update video out on Patreon yesterday. Hopefully you guys are finding it helpful. I just wanted to point out in real time throughout the day yesterday that we are seeing major moves outside of monthlies, outside of weeklies very early on in the month. You still have to wait for those reversal signals to complete. All right, let's see what's going on out there. Really considering selling offer loss and buying into TTWO. Let's go look at that for short Fridays real quick. Got to look at the macro scale here. Solid move so far. Never curled down on the daily. Oh, not 3-day. Let's go weekly. Weekly's just pointing up. So great consolidation, actually. If you really look at this, really good. Nice, built a triangle. Got tighter, got tighter, got tighter. Big move up. Solid. Is it a good monthly one? Still pointing in the upward direction for the monthly. So this one, not necessarily any reversal signals either, as far as I'm seeing. Maybe a 2-hour popping up right now, but it's just on the RSI. I wouldn't say it's on the MACD at the same time. If it is, it's very, very flat, so that could just be a pullback. You're breaking through a key level. So consolidating to retest these levels, maybe fill that gap, and then heading higher would be good. How far will Palantir go down? Well, you never know exactly how far something's going to go down. This is a big move, but it can end up, I would say this, by the end of the month, Palantir can be 10% lower. Where is that at? Somewhere around, 49. What happens to the option? Usually it's just recalculated. So like before Tesla split, if you had the $1,000 mark for a call, it goes down and you just have the $100 mark for a call. Financials are screaming down. Let me go look on my other screen. Ooh. Okay, we are going to bring this up. I think this is good. Thank you for pointing it out. You guys are good at finding stuff that looks pretty important. One thing to note here, no reversal signals on the 2-hour. So this can just be a move like this, boom, reconnect with the 5, turn back up, wait for a reversal signal. But if that's too far and this daily curls back down, you have a bunch of divergence across this. All right, and I'm guessing on the weekly scale, what do we have? Let's see. Weekly scale, you can see how dramatic that divergence is getting on the weekly scale. You're starting to come up to where the MACD is relatively flat, so that does add up to, hey, I got to pay attention if that rolls back up, look for reversal signals. Relatively flat on the MACD, but look how dramatic it is on the weekly here. This could be topping out today. Could head higher, right? We want to see when that turns down. On the monthly scale, you're going, is this a great investment? Well, on the monthly scale, you have flat divergence on the top. You have kind of multiple point divergence here. 1, 2, 1, 2, relatively flat in the nearest divergence, but if that monthly turns down, you might be pulling back, right? You see how this pullback here? This pullback led to what? All the way down to the 50. So if you're going to pull back, you could pull all the way down to the 50, and that could just get by the center line and curl back up. If we're going to pull back deeper, if this is going to be bad, I think getting into this level would be great. There's probably a ton of liquidity. You have a high there, you have a bundle of price action in there, and you have a high. So there's a little cube in here that looks nice. And if that can go down to there, that might be a good opportunity later on. But if that loses it, you're probably heading towards the 200. What do we consider that? That would be really, really freaking bad. That would be a 52% drop, 53%. So is this a great time to invest in financials? 12 to 24 months? No. Sorry. Shorter time frames? Yeah, you can see plenty of stuff. Is it great to invest on the daily? I would say no. So is this a great hold, I think, for the next month or two? No. Not right now. Can it go higher in the next few days? Yes. Yes, it can. Very flat divergence here. Very flat all the way across until this point. You have very flat on the RSI. I'm not really considering the MACD. Just looking at the RSI and these touches. The nearest one, very, very flat. This moved down. If we pull up a 4 hour, it might be a different story, right? So 4 hour turns down. You see how flat that is? That's going to be a problem. So it can shoot you in the negative direction, which just tells you that daily pullback is most likely coming. We just have to see if that daily is something really, really bad to cross over monthly scales on a lot of these charts. Tesla is heading higher still, 1.51. We have not seen the 2 hour confirm this, and it is holding there, but this is outside of a monthly, outside of a weekly right now. Always got to treat it with caution. No reversal signal on the 30-minute, so do I have to be extra cautious? Not necessarily, but we're heading into Friday, and if there's a 68% chance to do that by Friday, if I have calls on this going into Friday, am I thinking of, hey, maybe just leave some runners, make some profit in there? One thing I wanted to check on was this guy. This banking saw a major upward move. 30-minute for volatility. And we will be live later on today. Make sure you have those notifications on. Okay, that was that. How about buying IWM till the end of the year? I'm going to show you IWM. I'm going to show you this because IWM is overall saying, yeah, I have room on the monthly if I'm going to head higher. But a lot of other things are saying, I don't look very good, right? A lot of other things are saying, my monthly is getting pretty tapped out. So can it head higher into the end of the year? Of course it can. This is turned up into positive territory. Is this a great opportunity for that to happen? Well, I think the real opportunity was right here. And we've struggled for a little bit, but it overall has been heading in the upward direction. On the daily scale, is this a great opportunity right now for this to head all the way up into the end of the year? I would say no. If it's going to be a good opportunity, you want to see that good pullback, right? You want to see a good pullback. You want to see this go down, retest stuff. But pretty much by tomorrow, this could end up below 225.28. So is this a good time as far as a risk standpoint goes? If you take everything out of consideration and there's a higher percentage to land below 225 tomorrow than there is to keep doing what you're doing now, you are experiencing something crazy, and that's fantastic. You have a weekly scale that is turning up, and that's fantastic. But what if that's a little divergence? What if this is just rigged to the upside right now? You don't know. Is this a great time to be in it? Not necessarily. When was the great time to probably accumulate this? Well, this right here said yes. This right here said yes. Not too many hints right here, but it came back down into our zone. But this said double bottom. And look what happened over time. And then we get up to the sell zone. We come down. We get up to the sell zone. We come down. And we actually almost touch the buy zone down there. We go down to the buy zone. We actually have a major trend line there. We curl up. We see positivity as we break through. We retest inside. We break through. We retest inside. We break through. We retest inside. We break through. It's awesome. IWM is more the one, I would say, doing something that would make sense for volatility to be acting like a bear market. If you really look at IWM, it's seeing a lot more of those swing up, swing downs for a long time. Swing up, swing down, swing up, swing down, swing up, swing down. That is what you want to see when volatility is holding above 20 for quite some time on the daily scale. That's what you want to see. Are we seeing that across the board? No. Yeah, Pitching Academy, just so you're aware, it does not mean things can't go up, but does it mean, and since you said investment kind of for, say, another month and a half, it can be, but is it obvious that it is going to be? Is it more probable that it's going to be? If this was in the opposite direction, I'd probably be saying yeah. Just imagine this, guys. Everyone wants to buy stocks. Everyone wants stocks to go up, 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 up. If you flip this chart around, and we just saw the exact same thing, but down here. We see this move down. We see this big rapid move up. And then we see another move down. And then that would confirm. Let's say it's in the opposite direction. That means this would look like this. Wouldn't that be a bullish setup? So if we're seeing that form right now, are we going to risk all our money on saying, yeah, that's going to go up? It probably can, but is that a risky trade, or should I just be patient and wait for the easier trade? I'm going to be patient personally. What I think happens to the Dow? Well, it's very important to understand that it's more so about how the reaction is in the market, you know, because the reactions to things like Jerome Powell is not always what you expect. And this is why at the end of the day, I follow the signals. Because we could see some kind of drop with Jerome Powell. But we could easily retest that 5, end up curling back up, end the week still inside that weekly expected move, and then you see that curl up next week. And then maybe we go hit a weekly or a daily expected move for the SPY and the Qs, and you see this look. You want to see reversal signals. I'm not seeing that on the shortest time frame. I believe it is on the 4-hour here for the DIA, but so this is more so what I'd be watching is if the 4-hour, if this is too weak, if we're not going to get that next curl up, you are holding that flat divergence that you've held for a long time, but you're still closer to the center line this time. So this could be a massive trap. Is it saying that on the shorter time frames? No. So you're not getting a hint on the shorter time frames, but you're aware of the 4-hour chart. Master Chef on YouTube because this market's oh man. What do we watch? We watch Hell's Kitchen. If you guys haven't watched Hell's Kitchen is a great show. The older ones, not the best. The new, like we've watched the last 3 seasons and we're on it right now, and it comes out today, I think. Actually, I think Hell's Kitchen comes out today. No. What do I watch? My wife likes The Golden Bachelorette. That's what we watch today. Yes, Maurice, that would be a reaction to tariffs. Now, look for basing out signals from those, because if these things start to turn down dramatically today, because Jerome Powell is not friends with Donald Trump, man. If these things start to turn down today, watch out. See if there's basing out signals there. But a lot of time, I think it's going to be this, though, at this point. I think the U.S. is going to gain back its strength across the board. So from the Nikkei, it just looks like you don't have 2-hour reversal signals at all. So the 2-hour can pop here. Yeah, 2-hour curl up for that one, maybe. But yeah, don't like this. So we're still looking for, can that pull back in some way for an opportunity for upside? But a lot of people still on the put side. We're seeing the dollar just crash at this moment, which is very interesting because we've been moving in tandem, right? We've been, when the dollar pulling back dramatically a little bit more, the SPY drops. When the SPY goes up, the dollar's been going up. Correlation isn't causation by any means, but this is correlated positively, and that's starting to look a little negative at the moment. Is that going to change by the end of the day once Jerome Powell comes out? Because this is just the first hour of the day. Are the Qs running into resistance? They are. That's as high up as you're supposed to go for the entire day, and that's happening outside of a weekly expected move. So something you would really invite here is some kind of resistance, and then you can turn up into positive territory later on. That's what you're looking for. That would get this by the center line. You curl up, and then we watch out for reversal signals. But we did buy ourselves some time with this. Granted, unless some kind of black swan moment happens. I don't think today would be that moment. I did actually see some news. Did anyone see some news on someone working together with Russia against Ukraine? I think I saw that news. It says Asian stocks rise because of Trump. I saw the opposite the other day. Or was it yesterday? 2 nights ago? HGX getting that turn up here. Very good. Still pretty controlled. But we are trying something here. Maybe we do not curl down on this 2 hour. So we got to be paying attention. Maybe even to dailies at this point. Can that daily curl up? That would mean, hey, bought some time here for the housing sector. The housing sector did not initially like the election results, I would say. IWM starting to turn a little bit, guys, just so you're aware. IWM starting to turn a little bit. No real reversal signals here, so I think we could go into a 2 hour and say this most likely will be a pullback. You want to retest a key level? Well, that's very obvious. It's here. If you can hold this level, if you can retest it, you can retest this, that would be good. Then maybe you curl up. As long as you don't curl down those bigger time frames again, you're still a go. It's on a knife's edge. Let me click through some stocks here real quick. Apple again, real quick, just Apple. Trying to retake that 5, great, awesome. But does the hourly end up just turning back down near negative territory? Because we keep running into that 225.84. We can't break above it. Notice we don't close above it. Notice that we get the wick above it. A little bit risky there. And if I didn't have this working on mine, I'd do the other side to the 5-day where it doesn't really track it. We're actually testing the 5-day right now, as according to where it landed yesterday. Tesla, great move. All right, let me put you guys on the spy while I look through these charts just to see if anything is showing something. Tesla, great move. It actually used the monthly expected move to head higher, I believe. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it used the monthly expected move to head a little bit higher. Oh, Nvidia, you scare me. AMD trying to do something, but the AMD key thing with this one, I know it looks like, hey, yeah, this thing's juicy. It's curled down on a monthly. The weekly expected move is exactly where you think resistance comes in, and it happens to lie exactly where we would break out of this zone. So the top of this zone can hold as resistance. That would be a breakdown area in some way because we took out the low at that point. So pay attention. We could see this, maybe get some kind of handle to head higher. Or, and this is an hourly. Why do I have it on hourly? But 30 minutes going to be more it. If this can react up to here, back off, and then turn back up, you see how we can head higher. Get that cup to form at the resistance level, turn up, or turn down, turn right back up. Curl down on the 30-minute, curl back up. Not bad. Meta, seeing some great stuff. Remember Meta, this one here, triple divergence. Pretty much a double bottom divergence here. You had the divergence here. Look at that pointing straight up. Look at this pointing straight up. Positivity. Now you gotta watch out. We're getting a little overbought here. You're hoping that doesn't fail. Very unlikely, I think, to fail, but we do have a big event today. 2 hour was able to confirm up. You know, no real divergence on the 2 hour, but 2 hour was able to curl up there. And boom. Take back the 5, good things happen. Look through a couple more. Microsoft's about to run into a wall, and that wall happens to be, and things are just lining up with the weekly expected moves at this point. It really is. The boxes that we're making are showing that those boxes are the resistance levels. So right here could hold as resistance for Microsoft. But Microsoft, great 30-minute signal, great 2-hour turn up. If we need to make a stronger base, hey, that'd be awesome. You do something like this, you make it a stronger base, we can curl up over time, maybe into the end of the year. I don't know if Google is rejecting outside of its weekly expected move right now. Let me double check. Yeah, Google, as far as this goes, you see that rejection. Okay, where are you at right now? Well, you're outside of the weekly expected move, and now you're seeing some rejection come in. On the MACD, you see divergence actually with this point here and this point here. That would be this point right here and that point there. On the RSI, you're seeing not really divergence between the point that was created and the highest point that was created and the price action now. You don't see it, so I'd say you have it on the MACD, not the RSI at the same time. But if that curls down, you got to treat it like things can get ugly. The weekly charts are not good on a lot of stocks. Something like Netflix, 2 hours turned up, keeps turning up, keeps turning up, keeps turning up. Weekly never crossed down for this one. Okay, we're still watching it. Just looks like we're getting that next push higher. Let's go back over to the Qs. Let's see if they're able to break through that topside daily expected move today. Ooh, still holding there. So we get that reaction to a daily, we sit there, we see if we can head higher, probably after Jerome Powell. If we get excited before, maybe the SPY goes to its daily expected move. All right, what are you guys chatting about? North Korea sending soldiers for Russia. Thank you, Kyle. Silver? Silver. That does not look pretty. Okay, that does not look pretty. What is gold gonna do? That doesn't look pretty on the 30-minute. 2 hour, you can see that it's probably further than the center line. Yeah, you're way down in negative territory, so you got to watch out for lower highs. Daily scale has confirmed down. No real divergence there, though, for the daily scale. Looking a little bit bigger, just to see if this is going to extend. If the weekly crosses down here for silver, it's bad things. Very bad things. Very bad things for silver if we are going to turn down on the weekly scale. That's what it looks like on the charts. Oh, did I say Tuesday? Oh, Tuesday night, Banana Sam. So I think it says Tuesday night. So when it says Tuesday night, it'll say Wednesday sometimes. Let me double check. Yeah, Tuesday the 12th. But you get it after hours. So sometimes the E might even pop up. No, it's popping up on the 12th. So unless they changed it. Did they change it? Waiting patiently, Navi. Yeah, if they changed it to Wednesday, November 13th, then it should update eventually. But if it's still the 12th, then it says the 12th after hours. That is Tuesday. But you'll see it. I don't know if they change it to the morning of Wednesday. I don't know what happened there, but. Russia phones and have internet for the first time and have stopped fighting to just watch porn. Oh no, that's not good. Well, actually, wait. Half stopped fighting. Hey, people are dying less. Maybe I looked at it wrong. You could be right, but I mean, I'm just going to go off of what's on the chart here. And also, you might look. Yeah, it looks like Oxy's in California, so there shouldn't be anything wrong there. AMC 58 minutes. If we close at this price for AMC, you will be crossing down the MACD. AMC shares slide. Why the movie theater chain has lost its meme stock magic. Oh, so negative reports on that. All right, daily is confirmed up here. We still got earnings. Got to be cautious with it for Oxy. 30-minute pullbacks can happen. That's what you look like you're getting right now. It's just a 30-minute pullback. Remember, if a big upward move happens before the earnings, it's like, hey, get out of jail free card, maybe leave some runners for earnings, and you have no risk really in the trade, just opportunity cost. Very good. That's how we like to do it. What else you guys chat about? Exactly, Navi, and that's how you think about it. It's like, I don't see the shorter time frame reversals, but if we start to see dramatic things and then that turns down the bigger scale, I can start to look for that position. Just a hedge to be safe. I think that's actually not a bad strategy here for AMC, because when you do see this, it's not necessarily a good sign, right? This is not a good sign. It's not. Now that confirms in 56 minutes. That's not a good sign. It can roll over a daily chart. We haven't seen 2-hour divergence in a while since here. You see this 2-hour divergence up here, and then that confirmed down. Look how much we dropped from that. You can see, ooh, that again. And the good part is, over on Patreon, you do have weekly expected moves, you have monthly expected moves, so you know where you could potentially take profit on those things and actually make money out of it if you see a downturn. Then if you're like, hey, I'm just hedging, well, then if you see a good signal in the other direction, okay, awesome. CRM, let's go over something else real quick, and then Infoma, I'll check on that. Is it DJD or you want DJT? For this one, 2-hour divergence on the RSI, not necessarily on the MACD. Let's spread this out just to see. All right, 4-hour turns down, that wouldn't be good, but I don't think it's the best looking divergences. Daily has turned up. That is a good sign. If you're going to hold that divergence, then you should, like today's pretty important for CRM. If you can end up going higher, then that says, hey, we've gone very bullish, and we can just consolidate and then end up going higher. But if this daily turns down over the next couple of days, I'd be a little bit cautious, and you do have earnings towards the end of the month. That's what it looks like to me. Daily turns down, bad things. But if it can go a little higher, right, this 30-minute, maybe that needs to pull down and turn back up without curling down the daily. That can be a good thing. DJT, again, with this one, one thing to note here, 30-minute curl down, never curled back up. What you were waiting for was, does this react off the 5 and curl up into positive territory? Didn't happen. You didn't even get some kind of fake out like this. Yes, it faked out, but did that confirm? No, it didn't. It never confirmed back up. So since this point right here, it said negativity, and now you're lower than that point. So that makes sense. You can always see those rigged moves. Then that turns right back down. Okay, so the 2-hour is turning down. That is a big problem. That is a big problem. Can the 2-hour base out and turn back up? Yeah. But we don't have any reversal signals in here that tell us that's going to happen. You might have a 30-minute here right now. You might see this. If that curls up, now you have that little divergence point possibly, right? See how we're lower over here, a little bit higher, but that would need to turn around like now for that to happen. So it says I could stare at this, and if we start to reverse like that, I could make a decision. But if it doesn't, then the 2 hours turning down, that's a bad sign. And daily is turning down, saying I need to pull back, like really pull back. This could pull all the way back down into our zone here. Spread that out so I can get that pulled across. I just want to say thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Pitching Academy, for saying that. I do appreciate it. And when you give that sentiment, it just means, hey, I'm being a little bit helpful, right? I just want to be helpful, and that's it. Looking at the SPY, seeing if we can violate some levels here, seeing if the Qs can go past its daily expected move, and we're still struggling to do so. We could sit here for most of the day just to be aware. This is a very bullish move. So when you see how it's so bullish, that basing out and curling up would make a lot of sense. Basing out and filling a gap and turning back up would make a lot of sense. IWM, yeah, seeing that hold up at a higher level, still looking if that is going to cross back down and curl up. I don't want to bet that tomorrow it's going to land in here, right? I have a 68% chance, but as you get really outside of that, you could just turn down to here and not end up back down below 225. You could even squeeze into, hey, 242.97. That was my overall biggest target for IWM, and we're about to hit it. That was my biggest target for IWM, was 242.92. You can tell because I don't use blue lines anymore. You can tell that happened very early on in the year. I don't use blue lines very often for potential moves. That was the biggest move I saw happening, and it's happening. Yeah, and that's why you want to see, Jackal. That's why that 30 minutes, like if it can catch some steam right now, that wouldn't be a bad thing. QQQ, a little bearish divergence on a 15-minute. Okay, we can pay attention to a 15. Let's see. A little bit, but wouldn't this just say pullback to you? Let me know what you think. What do you think, Jackal? Wouldn't you say that just looks like, hey, we're running into resistance, maybe we experience a pullback? Right? This is still pretty high up, pretty flat. This is pretty flat. So wouldn't that just say, hey, maybe the 30-minute pullback does happen here? Maybe this 30 minutes going to get by that center line and turn back up, and then we're actually going to see that, hey, take out the high, go make a new one. This is where you just want to say, if that 15-minute says anything, this could be a 30-minute pullback. If it starts to cross down more rapidly, we need to be ready for if those weekly scales are turning back down. Yes, we are turned up on the weekly scale. Yes, the weekly scale looks fan-freaking-tastic. We got rid of the signals from last week. That's great. But we still have another day left. What if this turns back down? You have to be open to this just fading that move. Because if this fades that move, you're going to see this crossing right back down. If that holds that move and next week we fade the move and this crosses back down, we're going to be bearish once again. Right now we're bullish because of the signals we saw in the SPY, shorter time frame. I'm not going to say I'm bullish in the macro scale, meaning for the next, I would say 12 to 24 months investment style. Not with it. My MACD settings, just real quick. 12, 26 on the close, 9 EMA. And the one that I do use, if you want it, is this one here, SMA 950 180. You can just type all this in and then get the exact one I use. I do turn off the buy and sell signals for YouTube because mainly I just have buy and sell signals on for fun. I think they look fun on a chart. Sometimes they just give you that, kind of like PCC. It's like, oh, they can make me feel a little bit more confident. If I take a trade and then on the next bar I see a buy signal, awesome, that's fantastic. It'll make me feel a little bit better. But I do turn them off for the stream because I don't want people thinking like, oh, those are this algorithm, this program on these indicators are saying it's a great buy. Like, that's not what you want to go off of. And we talk about that in the course a lot. We talk about the fact that you don't want to just see an indicator that says buy and do that. You want a lot more things behind that. You want an analyzed decision. Alberto wants to check on AVGO. Let me check on Amazon first. Amazon, you're probably going to end up seeing like a 15 or something like that. You see 15-minute divergence popping up, but isn't that pretty flat? You know what I mean? And it's all the way across, but it is pretty flat. This is showing resistance, and you're outside of the monthly for Amazon. You're outside of the weekly for Amazon. So it tells you that this drop can take you back into the weekly. It tells you this drop could take you back into the monthly. Do we see reversal signals on the 30-minute? I would say not the best ones. I would say that this little 15 is more leaning towards, hey, we're going to pull down towards that center line and curl back up. But it doesn't mean it has to. If we start to lose the 5, come down even more, that 30-minute never curls back up, we start to go negative, that's when you want to up the time frames and see what's going on. If you're on NQX, it might have more time in it. There might be more time. These are like the Qs. They just process the regular trading hours. At least for what I do, I use regular trading hours for the Qs. So they open up at 8:30 my time at the open. And so you just might want to see if that stock that you are trading, what that would mean is if there's more hours being shown on your chart, something we like to do, and I'll do this on SPX 500. Okay, remember SPX 500. The SPY, what did we see down here? 30-minute divergence. Obviously, this looks a lot different than what we see on the SPY. So what do I want to do? I want to up the time frames to a 2 hour. So it really processes that. And then if I see this and I go, okay, we're doing that, awesome, that's fantastic. I can go look at the SPY maybe to see if this is actually giving that divergence. But you can see how we created the base still. We never curled down on a 2 hour chart. We never curled down. And if you really look at an hourly, that's where you're going to see it. You're going to see the potential double bottom. You're going to see how we went up to the center line. We curled down. We curled back up really close to positive territory with the divergence holding. Very, very significant on the RSI. And then that said, ooh, upside. Yeah, good stuff. What was it? AVGO? Broadcom. Oh, Broadcom. Oh, Broadcom. What news? Doesn't this have like a news station behind it? It was acquired by Avago Technologies for $37 billion. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I have that wrong. Oh, I'm thinking Comcast. AVGO, very, very cool here because you have a 2 hour divergence. Do you see it? You had the 2 hour divergence before this move. You had it right here. See that going down? See this holding relatively flat, little bit up there, but very significant on the RSI. So from this point forward, that confirmed you go, wow, this has a chance to turn up a daily chart. Can I get in early? Well, I'm seeing the weakness in momentum. I might get in early on this on the using the 2 hour and then see the daily swing trade. So the likelihood that this is going to push higher is high. You are by the center line. You are turned up on the daily scale. You could test this high, go make a new one. And you have really seen some decent structure, right? Not exactly cup and handle, but exactly where you want to see consolidation is where you're seeing it. And then you're getting that cross up. So if I'm going to be hurt by this trade, then the 2 hour is going to curl back down. If this is just going up to here and going to fail, the 2 hour can turn back down. If this goes up to here and the 2 hour turns down, it's more consolidative and then turns up, you might have the opportunity to head higher still. But the daily is the 2 hour suggested here that the daily can curl up, and the daily is saying, hey, I am a swing trade to the upside. You want to learn how to swing trade, anything like that, you guys can get those links down in the description for the courses. We have a swing trading course down there. Pretty much just gives you the entries and exits. And then the actual to learn technical analysis, what you should really get into if you want to become a good trader is going to be the using technical indicators course, the technical analysis course. It is $100 right now, which is just psychotic of me to do for almost a full year now. I've done that. I really wanted to do this as I think we were using 2024 to say, hey, we're building that weakness. We're paying attention to points of weakness because we have bad macro signals pretty much throughout half of the year here. We've had them, but that we've always gotten rid of them for a second. And then we've curled back up, which is awesome. We're trading like water, right? But it just tells me I want a new people to come in, be able to learn this stuff, really want to get good at trading, really want to know what you need to know. Well, it's only $100. It's 90% off. That's going away at the end of this month. So I highly encourage, if you're trying to learn, I think it will be very useful for you. If you're relatively green, right, you're very new to this stuff, it's maybe better to watch these videos a little bit more, right? It's maybe better to watch these videos a little bit more over time, see if it's a good fit for you, see if you can really understand parts of what we're talking about, and then take the course. I don't want to encourage someone who's brand new to just jump into it. I mean, some people like that. That's great. I know people that have just said, hey, I'm new, I'm taking the course. I've watched it 4 times through. I've actually gotten people that have said they've watched it multiple times, and then they came in and they're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand things. And then the part that people have trouble with is still risk management. Risk management is very difficult because it's very hard mentally to make those decisions, right? And be able to say, I'm wrong. It's very hard for people to admit when you're wrong. Just like me, I had to admit that I was wrong with TLT turning down. But maybe, like we say in the course, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm just wrong right now. And maybe this is actually going to curl up into positive territory by the end of the week. We'll see. We're getting a lot of those signals that are saying, hey, the 10-year is coming down. This will be highly dependent on today. But maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm just wrong right now because we are holding the divergence point on the RSI. If I blow this up, you're going to see the RSI. You're going to see the point that we violated on the MACD was here, but we did not violate that on the RSI. You're still pointing straight up here. That is still another divergence point. You're going to see all of them. Look at that. Great stuff. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for leaving a like on the channel. Really appreciate it. And let's go back over to the Qs then, because people are seeing momentum maybe going to fade. Well, we are kind of pushing through a little bit. So you really want to see, is the SPY able to push through? If this is able to push through, we might head towards that daily expected move. And this will be one of the most rapid moves I've ever seen. This is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. What am I seeing with Tesla? 2 hours is what I need to pay attention to for Tesla. Still bullish. I would like a 30-minute pullback for some kind of pullback here. Would be better to actually get in the play. It is turned up on the monthly scale. You're seeing something crazy on the monthly scale. You're outside of monthlies. You're outside of weeklies. What does that tell me? I need to pay attention if the 2 hour is able to roll down here. I'm not seeing that weakness on the 30-minute. Oh, and by the way, guys, Patreon. Okay, we will be giving out daily expected moves. These are rapid moves. So we will be giving out daily expected moves for every single stock that we're covering, even during this live video. I mean, except for little ones like, AVGO and those kinds of things. But if you want to, we can go through the list real quick of stocks that we actually give daily expected moves for on Friday. We've seen those reactions. We see how the Qs go right up to it and they stall out for a little while. That is something you see. We've seen monthly expected moves come into play. We're seeing an annual expected move come into play again right here. We gap below it. It is a very important thing to have on your charts. So something I like to do for Fridays is give out daily expected moves for the stocks that we cover. The stocks that we cover are SPY. You get SPY, SPX, QQQ, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, Meta, TLT, Microsoft, Google, IWM, GME, AMC, Palantir, Gold, GLD, and DIA, which is the Dow Jones ETF. You get all of that for a cup of coffee a month. And we're starting to violate this. So where do we want to pay attention to resistance? I want to look over at the Qs right as the SPY hits there, if the SPY hits their daily. This is when I'm going to pay attention. If the SPY is able to hit its daily, and the Qs, if these things keep going up, right, they can start to turn down anytime you're outside of this because it's 68% zone. But if this keeps going up like this, whenever the SPY hits the daily is when I'm going to look over at the Qs as well. Now, if the Q starts, or if the SPY starts to violate that, you're probably heading up towards 600. You're probably heading 600 is that level, right? People like those whole numbers. It's a mental thing. Psychology is a big part of the stock market. I love reading psychology. One of the books I'm reading right now is just reading into a sniper overseas who is the Reaper. It's been a great book, and I get to read his mentality all the time. It's fantastic. It's funny to see his insight of how he talks to his wife before he gets deployed, the things he says to her versus how things really are over there. It's very, very cool. I like reading that stuff, especially stuff that I don't go through. But something big in markets is psychological things, and one of those psychological things is 600. You're probably seeing everyone post 6,000, 6,000, 6,000 for the SPX. So once we hit 600, it's kind of like when Nvidia was at like 1,000, right? Everyone thought some resistance would come in for Nvidia at 1,000 because everyone was talking about 1,000 all the time. And we've headed higher and higher and higher. Higher and higher and higher. And we blew past it, right? We just blew past it. That's fantastic to see. That's awesome to see. Because around this level here, I believe it was the daily. It might have been the weekly or the monthly. I can't remember fully. Because when we were going to blow past it, what happened? We curled up on a daily. We never curled back down. That was on a negative bar. Or actually, no, that was on a positive bar. So from here, we curled up on a daily. We never curled back down. Just a swing trade. Literally a swing trade here is all you needed. And guess what? Your swing trade, even if you just went off of, hey, I'm going to swing trade and use the basic swing trade sell signal. Well, then that tells you, hey, you got in here at 85.85. You got out at 126. That is a fantastic gain. It's got to be at like, 50% almost. So good stuff. Take a, I don't know, what is that? Maybe a 3-month, 4-month position and boom, to the upside. Great stuff. Got to make sure those positions are solid. The timing of them. So cool stuff. I mean, just look at how we behave when we get above 500 for the Qs. 500 here, 500 here. Now we're getting way above 500. So maybe that means the SPY wants to get to 600. That would be cool. That would be cool. All right, guys, I'm going to read chat one last time here. Can we look at coin? Up on Soxel. Like it. Good old socks. Tesla, just 2-hour divergence, Mateo, and stare at that thing, but you don't have reversal signals on a 30. So 30-minute pullback for Tesla, and we will look at coin for you in a second. 30-minute for Tesla, that could be a pullback. There's no reversal signal there. You're outside of a monthly, you're outside of a weekly, so bad things can happen, but you need the 2-hour to turn down to really know if something really bad's happening, or at least relatively correcting. All right, coin, let's take a look at that. We're going to look over at some other things for just a moment here. Coin, great upward move. A lot of the time with coin, I'm just looking at what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin does not have a 2-hour reversal signal. Does it have a 4-hour reversal signal? It has one on the RSI, so a 4-hour pullback can come, but it most likely will be a pullback, right? That's the most probable thing. If it starts to go deeper, say today's a big day, right? Today is a big day because you could violate these divergences today, or you could turn down and start to cross over this MACD. So if you're getting a 2-hour or a 4-hour pullback or something like that, you want that to be going into positive territory. You don't want that to go too far down, because then you might be crossing the daily, and the daily is saying still, I would say, pullback. You're pretty high up. Still saying pullback, but that can be more dramatic, and then you want to look for those little 2-hour, 4-hour signals that we had right here. We had those signals right here. Got to prove it in real time. We had these signals right here. Now, the only reason we were a little bit like, it still can be an upward move, but you have to watch out for a lower high. It's just because of this little blip on the RSI down there. You came below that level, meaning that the divergence didn't hold on the MACD and RSI the entire time, but it is there on one, so you got to say, hey, that can bounce, curled up. Now you're just waiting to see if that can pull back still on the 2-hour, I would say. Any kind of upward move here would be one random. We know Bitcoin moves like crazy, but the reason I'm looking at Bitcoin is because I'd highly encourage people to look at other stocks to formulate an opinion as well. You can look at what coin is doing. I'm not seeing much on that, but I can look at the thing that coin needs to go up, which is Bitcoin. They are correlated in some way, not identical, but if you see a 4-hour triple divergence on Bitcoin, you could not see divergence at all on coin, make a decision with coin. It's true, you can do that. All right, let's go look at Adobe, because that thing is crashing down apparently. Well, you've actually built back pretty well here. The 2-hour had some divergence down here, pretty significant. You're getting up to an area that can hold as resistance. And so now you want to see, can you make some structure here? We didn't get to the exact point I would want to, but we're right here. We're right in this pocket, which I kind of like. If that 2-hour turns down, bad things still. I think bad things still if that 2-hour fully turns down, unless it just whips right back up. But I don't like the look of that too much. I think that maybe the 30-minute might be your friend here. The 30-minute can curl down and curl up into positive territory. That can be still a good thing, right? We react down to the 5, we curl back up. That would give you some kind of look. We're just doing it not at the exact, I would say, level you want to get to. Just because it's not at the exact level doesn't mean that momentum turning up can't see a good move. The 2-hour divergence you want to see here. 2-hour divergence, awesome. Daily divergence, awesome. So this is actually stating that the weekly can turn up from here. This is saying the weekly can turn up from here, and it's testing that 200 on the weekly. So you're experiencing a pullback. If this is going to continue in the upward direction and this daily is not going to flip back down, then that 30-minute needs to cross back up. All right, so you're seeing that daily cross, that's awesome. Now you're getting maybe an opportunity to get into a daily play if that can cross back up into positive territory, and it would say, hey, I might be a good thing for the next few months. All right, let's go check on AMC. AMC trying to turn up. Remember what we say, the 30-minute has to be curled up. So 30-minute has to curl up. What do they like to do on Fridays to this stock? Who remembers? Well, the options market, they don't want these things to expire here. So they would rather this thing go down. And that's what you're experiencing right now. You're going down. And this 2 hour is failing to cross now. You see that's failing to cross. If that crosses, then you can keep going down, right? Unless we see something crazy on a Monday and no one expects it. People really do like the earnings and there's a bunch of money. If the 2 hour curls down, you can do this. This is a signal I will really, really enjoy. This is when I will take a play on AMC for a potentially decent size option for a couple of months. If this daily turns down and turns back up, if this daily goes like this and the price action goes down to this level, maybe cuts it a little bit and then turns back up, that is when I will be making a decision. I'm letting you know in real time exactly how I'm thinking about a very good setup for the stock, and that would be if it sets up a daily divergence. On the MACD, on the RSI at the same time, that thing confirms, awesome. What am I going to look for in the meantime from AMC? If that's going to set up and I get a great, right? I'm just planning it, right? I'm just having a plan, and then whatever happens, I can make that decision. If none of this sets up, am I going to make that same decision? No. So if the 2 hour is able to see that weakness here, and that weakness is pretty good. Let's say the 2 hour shoots down. Then we get some kind of flagging. Maybe the 2 hour bounces. Maybe we go like this. The 2 hour bounces. And then we see that come down again. And then we see that come down again. We cut this low, we do that. This is when I will say, ooh, that daily has a very good shot of turning up. There is 2 hour divergence, there's daily divergence. I can even look in this move down if that does happen for a 30-minute. I've already made my plan. I can take out my little booklet right now. I can write all this down. I can draw it all out. And then I can say, okay, if that forms, I know what decision to make. I can even write, this is the amount I'm going to use. This is the price I'm going to pick. And this is how many contracts I would like to get, right? If all of this proves. Right now you're wicking up. So you're not even confirming any of that will happen. So what do I want to see? Well, if this is going to be bullish, then the 30-minute has to turn up into positive territory. 30-minute has to turn up into positive territory. That's what has to happen here. All right, guys, we are going live later on today for the FOMC, for the Fed interest rate decision, and for Jerome Powell later today. So please turn on notifications. Make sure you are subscribed so you can join us. If you want to learn a little bit before then, you can get those links down in the description. There's plenty of courses down there. There's the Patreon if you need weekly expected moves, daily expected moves. If you want to see all the things I'm actually talking about, you can join the Patreon. It just costs you a cup of coffee every single month, and it is very, very useful info to have. It is a serious edge that not a lot of people use, and I think everyone should use it. Personally, I think weekly expected moves, daily expected moves, well, actually, I think weekly and monthly expected moves are the best and most powerful things to have. It is the best resistance, it is the best support, it is the best level to know when stocks are also getting excited or could catch a bounce, or you might see reversal signals pop up. So that's why I would join the Patreon. But thank you guys for joining. You guys have been fantastic. We looked at a bunch of stocks, and I really appreciate everyone coming in, asking questions, looking at random stocks, bringing up some good ones that have some good signals. I love to see that. Let's just be a little bit careful with this. We do have a rock in our stream later today, and we will be live to watch that price action with you. But just know that rock in the stream, we want to end up in the meadow, not down by the sewer with the it clown, even though Halloween's over. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great day. Good luck with your trades. Trade like water, manage risk, and you'll be just fine. All right, guys. Peace out.